There's a lot of things that we wouldn't even know what's going on.
Exactly.
But do you get a lot of second-guess emails? I mean, you get emails from fans and things?
No, I don't.
Or you don't read them?
I wouldn't read them if they came in. I wouldn't.
Obviously, offensive guys, the shorter the field, the better you like it. How much of a shorter field do you get with Alex Henry versus other teams who don't have something?
Alex is a huge weapon. When you get you get Alex inside around the 35-yard line, you got points. So Alex adds a lot to how you manage the pre-red zone and the red zone, and what you do. So Alex is a huge weapon because he's automatic. I've only been around a couple that have been like him. He's pretty much an automatic points.
When's the last time you didn't know if he would make a field goal?
Alex?
Last time you thought you didn't know if he'd make it or not?
Never really. I've never, when we put him out there, and we know what his distance is. Obviously, JP and charts that, and we know going into a game where he's good at, predicated on the, the conditions more than anything else, in an outdoor stadium especially. I don't even think twice about it. Alex making a field goal. I know he will.
Shawn, can you talk about your decision to play Brookmeyer, Higgins never played?
Yeah.
Some of the other guys you have on your team.
Joe had put together 2 really good weeks of practice and played really well for us. And you could just feel him on the practice field. You saw it on tape. Really, he deserved the opportunity to get out there and play. And I think he would have probably, no doubt in my mind, he would have played earlier for us had he not been injured. He's had somewhat of an injury plague. Spring and then training camp, even during the season, he's battled injuries, and this is the first time we've really had him healthy. And he really, our players would tell us during the during the winter or during the summer, what a impact he was making in 7-on-7s or drills that were 1-on-1s, whatever they were doing. And Joe's always had the talent, and he's just a playmaker, and you could see it. But we've never had him really healthy. So having him back healthy has been, over the last 2 weeks especially, we felt him in practice and saw it on film, and he deserved the opportunity to play. He'd won that chance.
The numbers on Oklahoma's people aren't, jump off the page, but things that do tackle for loss, margin.
Right.
Does that lend itself to the aggressiveness and
Yeah, they obviously coach it. There's obviously a lot to do with their scheme, the talent of players that they have, and they do a great job of coaching those things. The scheme is obviously tied in the tackle for losses and turnovers as well as the players who are playing. So they have a good scheme and talented players.
As a football guy, what's it like to be part of this happy finale, Nebraska, Oklahoma?
It's a really awesome opportunity, to be honest with you, because throughout football there's only a couple rivalries, teams that you would look to and say, man, those 2 schools get together. It's a special get together, and Nebraska and Oklahoma obviously throughout the ages has been that. And so it's to play Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. It's an awesome experience.
You talk about the impact of Niles' injury on the offense, so in general.
Niles is obviously in our offense. We do a lot of things with him, targeting him and getting him involved, and losing him, it stings you a little bit, but the other part is you get good players behind him who it's their turn to step up, and that's what Joe did last week. He stepped up when called upon, and that's what players are supposed to do: step in, serve their role, and that's what I thought Joe did a great job of. You miss Niles because of all that he's given you and what he's put into it, but you have to move on. You just got to move on. So that's what we do. We move on, and getting back for the bowl game is going to be awesome.
Through your experience and maybe what you've seen, generally when a team switches offenses as drastically as Nebraska has from one year to the next, it's either because of the coaching change or you're going to do it in the off season. Nobody ever does it in the middle season. In your experience, have you ever had to drastically switch your offense that much during a season?
You're talking about last year?
Yeah, last year going to this year.
Well, last year, no. You're talking about during the season last year? No, but it's what we had to do. So, you don't bat an eye, you just do what you have to do. But again, how we put ourselves together in the very beginning allows us to do that without it being a huge transition for everybody in the building, for our whole players. So, we've kind of kept our scope broad enough where, we're able to do that and not disrupt us. But it never like we had to last year, no.
550 rushes this year, you've had 233 passes. Is that your personality as an offensive?
Not really. It's just where we're at. It's developing a young quarterback. It's we're developing Taylor, and then also still developing Cody, and it's you want to be balanced, and my whole nature is to be balanced. So we just we move as we move along. They develop. You'll see more balance.
Coach, last year in the Holiday Bowl, you guys brought out the Wildcat, kind of the bowl wrinkle. Can you talk about how Rex has developed at that position and what kind of dimension it's brought to your offense?
Well, Rex is a unique player, and he brings a lot to the table with his ability just to pick up whatever. I've said he can pick up a golf club and be good at it in 2 weeks. But he's a player who has that unique feel for football, for the game, and having had background as a quarterback obviously aids him and helps us. So it's a real easy thing to do, in terms of developing that aspect with Rex, because he's been there and done it, and he allows you to do a lot more with it than maybe some other players would because of his experience in it, and then his I think his play, his understanding of the game, his ability to transition into whatever you ask him to do. He gets it. You teach it to him on the board, he can take it right to the field and do it the first time. Perfect. That's just, he's just a unique player. Has a great understanding for the game.
Did you guys think about using the Wildcat in last year's Big 12 championship?
At that time, not because of the tailback situation. We were Rex had just come off an injury and Roy was beat up, so we just didn't have the pieces at that time.
What would have went on Saturday in the BCS Bowl do for this program?
All those things obviously are big. I think being in a BCS game is everybody's goal, and it would be a huge step for us. Because every year we've continued to get better, and we've had to work through some issues as we've gone along, but we've gotten to where we wanted to be, and that would be big for us.
Coach, when Taylor's not playing, why doesn't he have a headset on the sidelines and signals and calls?
Yeah, he's sometimes what I've done with him is just I've asked him to watch the game, and then I always talk to him. Whenever he's, usually the first guy I do talk to is him, and then after that, I'll talk with Cody, for example, this past Saturday, and ask him what he's seen. So try to keep his mind clear so he can see it, and then make sure he's seeing the things that he needs to see as a quarterback, from that perspective. So I'm always trying to develop him.
Because some people, they go, well, it looks like he's disinterested.
No, that's not Taylor's demeanor. That's not who he is. That's wrong of them to say that. It's being overcritical of Taylor.
Thanks.
Good.